The microphone crackled. My father grinned like a man with the world in his pocket. "My son gets the business," he announced, voice steady, proud. Then, without a pause, "My daughter? A job at Wendy's, if she's lucky." Laughter erupted. My uncle leaned back in his chair, smirking. "She'd screw that up, too." The laughter turned sharp. It cut, not in the moment, but somewhere deeper, somewhere old. Then a throat cleared. The lawyer stepped forward, papers in hand. The room shifted. Silence rippled through it. I didn't smile. I'd been waiting for this moment for a year. Before the cracks showed, I was 10 when my father first told me the business wasn't a place for women. It wasn't cruelty back then, just a seed planted in rich soil. I spent my 20s trying to prove him wrong. Late nights, relentless numbers, ideas that doubled revenue. Every proposal I made, my brother presented. My name vanished from credit. My uncle, Dad's closest confidant, was worse. He called me the backup plan in meetings. A joke, he said. The truth? I was the threat they kept in the shadows. The moment I stopped playing their game. It was last Thanksgiving. My father was drunk, my uncle looser than usual. I overheard them in the den, talking like I wasn't down the hall. "She'll never touch a cent. I've got the papers in order. By next year, it's all marks." "Smart," my uncle said. "She'd run it into the ground." And then they laughed, like boys throwing rocks at a stray dog. That was the night I stopped trying to earn their respect. Respect is a gift you give equals. I wasn't their equal. I was the enemy they underestimated. Planning begins. Step 1, information. I pulled every record I had access to, financials, contracts, tax filings. I learned more in 3 months than my brother had in a decade. And in those numbers, I found leverage. Shady write-offs, shell accounts, questionable consulting fees that all traced back to my uncle. Step 2, allies. Not friends, professionals. A corporate attorney, discreet and merciless. A forensic accountant. And the lawyer who'd been my father's since before I was born. Loyal to the money, not the man. Step 3, patience. I didn't confront, I didn't warn. I kept showing up to family dinners, smiling through the insults, letting them believe I was harmless. Because revenge works best when they think you've already lost. Setting the trap. My father's company had shareholders, minority ones, people he'd stepped on but couldn't fully crush. I met with them quietly, over coffee, in parked cars, in dim hotel lounges. I laid out what I knew about my uncle's side deals, my brother's negligence, my father's blind trust. They didn't like me. They didn't have to. They just had to hate them. We struck a deal. When the retirement announcement came, they'd demand a formal review of the transfer. The lawyer, my lawyer now, would present the findings. The night of the speech. My father stood under the chandelier, glowing with self-satisfaction. My brother was at his side, pretending to deserve the suit he wore. My uncle lingered near the bar, already on his 3rd whiskey. "My son gets the business." The room laughed. I watched my father's chest swell. Then, "My daughter? A job at Wendy's, if she's lucky." The laughter was different this time, sharper, meaner. My uncle leaned in with his punchline. And that's when the lawyer stepped forward. "Before we conclude," he said, voice calm, almost casual, "there's a matter that requires the attention of the shareholders present." The unraveling. He started with the shell accounts, every one tied to my uncle. Then the missing funds, the falsified invoices, the tax risks that could sink the company. Gasps rippled through the room. My uncle's drink froze halfway to his lips. Furthermore, the lawyer continued, under the bylaws, these violations trigger an immediate review of any transfer of ownership. All assets are frozen pending investigation. He let the words hang there. Effective immediately. My brother's face drained of color. He looked at my father. My father looked at my uncle. And my uncle looked at me. That was the first time he didn't smirk. The kill shot. The lawyer slid the final document across the podium. In light of these findings, he said, and under the conditions set forth in the late 2023 amendment, filed and notarized, control of the company will be held in trust by the board-appointed interim CEO. Every eye turned to the last page. My name was printed in bold. Aftermath. I didn't look at my father when I walked past him. I didn't need to. His silence was louder than any apology he would never give. My brother muttered something under his breath. My uncle stared at the floor, knowing the investigation would bleed him dry. I stood outside in the cool night air, the weight of a decade lifting. They thought